Hello and welcome back. Please do subscribe if you haven't already done so. Today I'm doing a book review for Snuff by Chuck Palahniuk. This book was published in 2008, I believe. It's a good 13 years old now, and the basic premise of the story revolves around a huge porn film that's like a gangbang porn film. Okay, great premise for a story. The whole entire story takes place in one warehouse where the film is taking place, and there are 600 men all queuing up and waiting for their time to have 2 minutes with the main porn actress, the main porn star of the film. That's the basic premise. It's a great one, and there are only 5 characters in the story that actually matter. 5 main characters. You've got Mr. 72, that's his number. You've got Mr. 137, and you've got Mr. 600. Who would want to be Mr. 600? And then, of course, you've got the main porn actress of the film, and the other character is a woman who's she's like an organizer of the event. She walks around the warehouse calling out the men's numbers and calling them into the main studio. They're the 5 main characters. I would describe this book as a comedy, really. It's a comedy. It's not erotic in any way. If you want to read this book to get aroused or turned on, you're going to be disappointed. It's not that kind of book. It's not like 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that. Not by any means. It's almost like a critique of the porn industry, really. And you get lots of funny references to porn film names as well. I can't really remember any off the top of my head, but I enjoyed reading these funny film names. That was a big part of the book for me. And as always with most Chuck Palahniuk's books, you get lots of real life showbiz stories. He kind of references these old Hollywood film stars from the 1950s, and you get to find out some of these weird and funny stories that happened to these old actors as well. And you also get to learn a few porn secrets and what goes on behind the scenes in these events, which is always interesting. Through reading this book, I learned what a fluffer is. There's a job description or job title called a fluffer, and their job is to keep porn stars aroused behind the scenes, so that when they get their time to go on set, they're ready for action. That's what a fluffer is. I also learnt don't worry, what I'm about to say isn't paedophilic or anything like this. I learnt what a porn baby is by reading this book. A porn baby is a baby that was conceived by accident during a porn film. And that's actually a big part of the plot of this story. I won't do any spoilers, but that's a big part of the story here. So I learnt what that is. Did I like the book? Yes, I enjoyed the book, although, as always, Chuck Palahniuk's prose does get very tiring. He's certainly got a unique style, as I've mentioned before. Very unique writing style, which I think is good. But it can get a bit tiring, and it's very much an acquired taste. You kind of, or you love it or you hate it. And I enjoyed it. It got a bit tiring. He kind of plays around with grammar and stuff, but I did enjoy the book. I've read quite a few of his books now, and this is probably one of the best ones. And it's got a good ending. And it's not too long. I'm not into big, massive books these days, at least not at the moment. And this one was I think it was about 200 pages long. which is just right, really, I think. Now, I want to mention as well, this book is actually based on a true story. It's based on a woman called Annabelle Chong. This woman was born in England, I think, and grew up in England, but her ancestry is like from Singapore. She's of Singaporean descent, if that's the correct way to say it. And in the mid-90s, in 1995, she was a porn star in America, and she broke a world record at the time for doing a porn film called The World's Biggest Gangbang, I think it was called. And she slept with 251 men in 10 hours, and it was all on film, and it was all released as a porn film, okay? And yes, in case you're wondering, I have seen it. I've seen parts of it. It's okay. But more importantly, I've seen the documentary about it. There's a very good documentary about this woman's life and about this specific event that took place. The documentary is called Sex, the Annabelle Chong Story. And you can watch this for free online. I can't remember the website I found it on, but do a bit of searching online and you can watch it for free. And it's quite a tragic story, really. She's been on Jerry Springer, this Annabelle Chong, and the reason she gave for doing this huge gangbang film was she noticed that men often get encouraged, or they get celebrated for having sex with loads of different women, but for women it's different. They can't do it. So as a kind of feminism or feminist move, she decided to do this to show that a woman can do it as well. But she kind of got cheated a little bit. She was told that every man in the film had been tested for HIV beforehand, but I think it turned out that some of them hadn't been. All right, so she got cheated that way, and then as a final blow, after she did the film with 251 men, she actually didn't even get paid for it. Imagine that. She didn't get any money. She got cheated of her salary after doing the film. So it's quite a tragic story, but it's a good documentary and I recommend watching it. So there you go. This Snuff. I'm going to give it 7 stars, which is quite a good score. It's not going to get 10 because the prose gets a bit too much, but it gets 7 stars. So I do recommend reading it, and I also recommend watching the documentary, the Annabelle Chong Story. Okay, so there you go. Thanks very much for watching. As I say, please subscribe. I'm trying to get more subscribers here. I'm trying to edge my way up to 500. And keep an eye out for my next video, which will be in about 2 weeks or so. In the meantime, try to have a great day on this pornographic, explicit, XXX rock we call Earth. Goodbye.